Hello guys, for this video, I am going to be playing gardening zombie game, but on Scratch. By the way, I am only making this video so that you have a little extra content to watch before I upload the Piracies video. Anyways, let's go play some games made by 10-year-olds. The first game we are going to be playing is simply titled Plants vs Zombies, which is basically a poor recreation of the original Plants vs Zombies game. I placed down a flower and noticed that it's frozen and has no animation. The same can be said with every other sprite in the game, because this zombie is sliding across my lawn. I placed down a nut, only for him to simply slide past the nut and the rest of my defense. And we must be living in 1829, because lawn mowers are practically non-existent and don't do anything against those undead businessmen. I restart and attempt to defend against those zombies, but placing down plants doesn't work properly because I clearly didn't click on that tile to place down the pair of cherries. And I lose yet again. Too bad they won't have any brains to eat, because I was born more than 521 million years ago and I'm practically an immortal being who is capable of levitating and touching grass. The next game we are going to be playing is an old version of that one game I previously played on my channel. Just like the last game I played, this is basically a poor recreation of Plants vs Memes too. It doesn't even have outdated memes to make up for it. For some reason, the game hasn't sent any zombies, which gave me more than enough time to become a flower hoarder. Suddenly, a zombie appears as I proceed to place down nuts. Just like the last game, the zombies are able to slide past my plants, practically making them useless. Then this zombie somehow summons a traffic cone on top of his head. I start placing down explosives out of boredom and decide that it's a good time to move on to the next game. The next game is also titled Plants vs Zombies, but with an exclamation mark and star. I start the game and select the house world. Level 1 is pretty much level 1 from the first two games, except the graphics were clearly stolen from my MS Paint drawings. I'd like to point out that when a zombie dies, it collapses like a stack of blocks to rest in pieces. I complete the level and obtain 2 sunflower seed packets. One of them works and the other keeps teleporting, almost as if it's trying to run away from me. Level 2. I notice that we don't even have my MS Paint sunflower selected, probably because of how bad my drawing looks, but at least it's not as bad as this. Instead, the game automatically selected explosive starch. It looks like I'm not earning any sun, so I might as well place down a landmine to defend against. Wait a second, why did it transform into a nut? I hate that this game is making my brain not function properly, not that it ever really worked to begin with. But at least it works better than this game, right? One of the zombies reaches the 9th column and somehow makes me lose automatically. Too bad they won't have any brains to eat, because I was born more than 521 million years ago and I'm practically an immortal being who is capable of. I retry the level and all of a sudden I have twice as many vegan turrets, also known as 2 literal peas in a pod. For some reason I also have a shovel as a part of my arsenal. Even though that clearly wasn't there before. It would have been useful if I could use it to attack the zombies and bash their non-existent brains. You know what? I'm moving on to the next game. The fourth game is also simply titled Plants vs Zombies 2, but with quotation marks. We also get to view this very interesting preview of the game. I start the game and I immediately notice an undead athlete running towards my vegan shooter. I place down a nut and Venus flytrap which bites off the head of that zombie and transforms the rest of its body into a brown coat zombie's corpse. A hunter zombie from the Ice Age appears and throws snowballs at my plants. For some reason this zombie's corpse also transforms into a browncoat's corpse upon death. A low-quality PNG of a balloon zombie appears and its hitbox is fat enough in order to somehow get killed by a landmine when it clearly appears to be floating. We also encounter a zombified rodent and a very naughty German dictator with a funny mustache doing a special type of salute. By the way, this man did not die by committing self-murder. He actually died by getting peed on by my pea spitter and chomped by my carnivorous plant. FYI. A miniature steroid mummy appears who seems to forget that he can insta-kill my plants by simply bashing them with his sarcophagus and decides to eat my nut instead. Screw you guys, I'm going to make my vegan shooter overdose on cannabis and get all of you killed. We also encounter a waifu who looks like they could really use a weight loss, or better yet, a funeral. This zombie had clearly broken the laws of physics by surfing waves on top of a literal grass lawn. I get overwhelmed and end up losing. Too bad they won't have any brains to eat, because I was born more than 521 mil. I don't know why I decided to waste my time replaying this game. How about we just move on to the next game? The fifth game is titled Plants vs. Zombies Adventures, which seems to be a recreation of that one discontinued PvZ Facebook game. The game starts off by showing me the title card and a plant which we control by using the arrow keys. Wait, what? Did we already beat the game or something? Is the game really going to teach me the controls and all of a sudden end after a few seconds? Is this even a game? Was this worth being in the video? Was this even worth my time? Why am I asking so many questions? Why don't I have a father? The final game I'm going to be playing is Plants vs. Zombies Tower Defense. I'll just look at the high scores out of boredom. My eyes are burning from all of this white all over my screen. How about we just play the game itself? Right off the bat, we're given a map selection screen with the only two maps being Meadow Bridge and Lagoon. I select Meadow Bridge and attempt to place down a green shooter but end up getting confused. I finally manage to place it down and the game sends out severed zombie heads. I assume this is where all of those severed zombie heads from the zombies we killed go to. I also noticed that the towers are controlled by following your cursor, kind of like the Darkling Gunner from BTD 6. Some time passes by and I attempt to place down a tower which you're supposedly able to place in water, but it doesn't even fit in the water. I become frustrated and somehow manage to place it down in the corner, blocking the amount of money I have. I also discovered that you're able to upgrade your towers simply by clicking on them. More time passes by and I'm able to afford a literal beam that's capable of shooting big laser beams that pretty much annihilate those severed zombie heads. I decided to sell every other tower I had in order to buy more beans. I get distracted and manage to let a couple of zombie heads reach the end of the track and I win for some reason. That concludes the video for today. I might make a part 2 because there are still numerous games I haven't played. Besides, I better get going because I have another PvZ 2 video to finish, since it's been a while since my last PvZ 2 video. Anyways, I'll see you guys in the Plants vs. Zombies 2 Pirate Seas video. Goodbye. Wow, this looks like shit.